Andy, we're here in the near north side neighborhood of Peoria, Illinois, just several blocks away from downtown Peoria, the heart of the city. And it's an alive neighborhood. It's vibrant, it's full of life and activity. There are families from all walks of life that call these streets their home. Yeah. In addition to that, it's also one of Peoria's oldest neighborhoods. We have homes still in this neighborhood standing that were built in the late 1800s. But in addition to the history that this neighborhood has with the city around us, there's some history it has with the Dream Center as well.
Yeah, well, this is where it all started for the Dream Center. Back in the early years, we were just wanting to find the need within the communities. And with the near north side being so close to the Dream Center and all the activities that we were doing, teams would come into these neighborhoods and just knock on doors and find out what the needs were within the city. And as that happened, we were able to find the need and then fill it. Yeah. And as we kept going, we realized that some of these needs weren't just for one or two individuals within that street, but it was actually neighborhoods had those needs. And as a Dream Center back then, we started meeting needs. And that's how the ministries of Dream Center started, was by meeting the needs right in the neighborhood.
The neighborhood we're in right now, others like it. I think it's oftentimes really easy to give a neighborhood a reputation based on what you're seeing from it on the surface. Of course, you could drive up and down these streets and see different types of homes, different types of people, and over time, people say certain things about it. Yeah. But the experience we had early days of the Dream Center, even up until right now, there are some good-hearted, well-meaning people that really do call this neighborhood home.
Exactly.
When we moved to the near north end, I had never lived in an urban area. I was used to cornfields and quiet neighborhoods and beautiful houses, well-kept, manicured lawns, all of that. That's what I've experienced in life. So that was normal to me. That's my comfort zone. Moving to an urban area, you have more activity, you have more foot traffic, you have more noise. And so that was a little intimidating to me initially. But what I found was that it's amazing. When we moved in, I was uneasy about it just because this is out of my comfort zone. It's an area that not only isn't what I was used to, but it also comes with a reputation of being not the best area, that there's always going to be crime, that your children aren't going to be safe, that the people who live near you aren't necessarily the best people. And that's just not right. That's inaccurate. People who have nothing have gone out of their way to bring us Christmas cards and just be neighborly. They may not have all the money to put on the new roof or buy all the flowers for their yard, but they're good and they're kind and they care. They just don't have the disposable income to keep up with the Joneses. What they do have is heart. My name is Catherine and I'm here for good.
You know, Seth, it was in this neighborhood where we learned some things early on in doing that ministry back in the early days, where we would go door to door, and starting out it was hard. Mm-hmm. Some doors weren't even opened for many months, but yet we got to a point where that door started opening a little bit and we could start having a little bit of dialogue. And the way that we got into being able to help that home and that family more was by sweeping a sidewalk or moving snow off the sidewalk. And as we kept going back, the consistency won people over. Yeah. And from the consistency, we built relationships. And that is the key to, I feel, really attacking poverty in different areas. Is if you are there and you're building a relationship with someone, you can see a solution a lot easier. And so for what we were doing back then, it started really clarifying for us that consistency and relationship was the way that we could help neighborhoods.
Especially when you talk about a neighborhood like this, that for so long has had incredible people and incredible organizations doing incredible work in this neighborhood. However, there has been some neglect, not happening within the neighborhood, but as far as how this neighborhood meets into the bigger picture of the city and of the region as a whole. So when you talk about seeing the tide raise here, just like you said, it takes those relationships, and those are built over time.
Yeah, and the reality is when people have got involved, you know, we do many different programs, Mission Peoria or Serve the City. When families come and join us for those days and they feel a little scared of going out to a neighborhood that they're not familiar with, what we find is when they come back and report to us and say, you know, how was the day? They're like, we want to do it again. Like we're making a difference. We didn't think we would. Some people are honest with us, and you know, we were scared that our family would be going to a certain part of Peoria, but our family could come together and make a difference in the lives of another family, and that's incredible.
Yeah, when connections like that happen, only good can result.
Yeah.
I'm not originally from Peoria. I was born in the St. Louis area. I went to Bradley University, go BU, and after I graduated, I started my family here, and I realized that there was kind of a disconnect on that. I hadn't considered it my home yet. I was just beginning to make it my home, and so I wanted to get involved in any way possible to kind of make that connection and really call it my own and be responsible for what's going on here in town. As I started to step into volunteer opportunities that connected me with various corners of the region, I have learned that we're all pretty much the same, that we just have a little bit of a different story, and everyone ultimately just wants to feel loved and feel cared for. And if I'm in a position that I can just show someone that kindness, then it just connects us, and then I feel like I have created this bubble of making the community feel smaller, and I feel responsible for my neighbor because I have connected with them and I know their story and they know my story. And it just evolves into this relationship that you can't unsee once you see it. I went on a missions trip this past summer to LA, and it was an amazing experience. I really got to experience what it's like serving in other places and how related we all are, that even though their needs may be a little bit different than ours, they are still so much reminiscent of what we go through here as well. And the common denominator is just showing people kindness and just showing up, and then watching how God fills those needs just through us. When I came back, after seeing people set free, seeing lives changed, seeing God show up in such a tangible way time and time again, I knew that LA is not any different from Peoria, and the fact that there are hurting people, that there are neighborhoods that are suffering a little bit more than others, that they're homeless, and that now that I was equipped with something that I had learned how to do in LA, it would be foolish of me not to bring that back home and do the same thing here. And I was eager to bring what I had learned there and implement it back home. And the result of that has been nothing short of amazing, because God just never fails to show up. I have started to go down with a group of people through church to the Taft and Harrison Homes area, and we go out a couple Fridays a month where we just set up a prayer banner, and we come with snacks and toys and books, and we just stand on the corner, and people come up to us or we go out to them, and we just introduce ourselves. We ask what needs they have. We ask if they'd like prayer, and the people have been so welcoming to us. We have repeat people. The kids come running up. They know our names, we know their names, and it's just really caused this sense of community to feel so strong. Like when I'm driving by those areas and neighborhoods now, I can be like, oh, that's where so-and-so lives, and that person had that testimony, and we were able to really connect with so-and-so there, and it just really brings the city to life in a way that when we just drive by, we can miss out on those little moments that are so important. I did not have any expectations going in, and I think that is probably why I did pretty good, because I didn't say that it was for me. I just made myself available, and God used me and continues to use me and the other people who show up to really do His work. It's less about me and just being available for other people. You don't have to have training, an education, a special gift, or a special talent to be kind to someone. Listening sometimes is the most powerful tool that I'm able to bring. When I originally started volunteering, I did not involve my family as far as them physically coming. However, we've always talked about exactly what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, why it's important. When they saw the value that it was bringing to my life, it's impossible to contain. So it just kind of overflows into our life, and it's no longer something that I put on my schedule because I have to do it that month. It's something I get to do, and that kind of mentality has been infectious with my family, and it has completely changed the culture of my family. I'm Deborah, and I'm here for good.
You know, the realities, Seth, of Peoria as a whole is that at times there can be a heaviness of the city.
Yeah.
Problems and situations, social economic things that are going on within certain areas of a city can get very heavy, and that's history. That's not just what may be happening now, but way back. Cities throughout the world have that, and Peoria has that. But we feel that where we're at as a city, that there are some things happening that we feel could really unite the city in many ways. And that's why, in looking at where we're at as a Dream Center, and also where the city is at and is going to be, that we feel that there's this optimism that something is happening.
Yeah.
And so for us, we are going to go back to our roots and look at how could we bring some of those things that we did early on, come back and be able to impact a city. And so we are going to be launching a new initiative called Here for Good, that will bring the community back into those neglected areas of this city.
Yeah, Here for Good is designed intentionally to send the same groups of people knocking on the same doors, on the same streets, in the same neighborhoods once a month, indefinitely. We're hoping that this becomes a rhythm for one day hundreds of people, because what we believe is through relationships built over time, when needs can be shared, we believe that this city is poised for those needs to be met as well. And so we believe that this is a natural way. We believe that this is a God-given way where the call is clear. Love one another as we have been loved by God. And there's no better place to start than loving our neighbor.
It all started a couple years ago, two years ago in fact, where my wife and I and some friends were sitting down at Wingfest down on the riverfront. And we showed up that day to eat some wings and drink some beer and have some fun. But then all of a sudden we were kind of looking around going, you know, there's a lot of people here, there's 1,000 people. Where's all this money going? And you know, all of a sudden, like a voice from the heavens comes down and says, hey everybody, thanks a lot for coming out to Wingfest today. We were able to raise a lot of money for our friends down the street at Friendship House. And we all kind of looked around at our table like, wait a minute, we just showed up here to have a fun day. And we just did a nice benefit for some neighbors up the street. When I moved back to Peoria, I think it was really easy for me to fall in the trap a lot of people do in the area, which is sit back and say there's nothing to do in Peoria. You know, there's nothing to give back to in Peoria. But I realized that day, sitting down on the riverfront, where I was admiring what Wingfest was able to do, which was, you know, engage the people in the Peoria area to be able to do something fun, but also give back, was I needed to figure out how to do the same thing. I needed to figure out how to engage myself in the community. I needed to figure out how to engage others in the community and figure out how to do good on a smaller scale, right? How do we engage a local group of residents to be able to do something something tangible around that area to be able to make a difference. And that's kind of how Build Peoria got started, was, you know, how do we unite the community through the love of the Peoria area to be able to physically build it into a better place and then leave a legacy for future generations. I'm Nick, and I'm here for good.
You can't help but get excited about what can happen when people gather around a common mission, especially when that mission is focused in on meeting people where they're at and helping where they can, which is why we're so excited about Here for Good. That's the mission, is not trying to flip neighborhoods into something that they were never designed to be and turn families from one place to a completely different area of life. What we are just focused on doing is building relationships and meeting people exactly where they're at, believing that this is going to raise the tide for the entire region.
And I find as well, the excitement for us isn't just for what we're about to do with people that are already connected to us, but also for two groups of people. The network that has been created within Peoria, the non-profits and the churches that have got some incredible resources. People are talking, people are engaging one with another on those levels, non-profit to non-profit, church to church. So now when we see need and when we feel need in a community, we now have people and other organizations that are doing amazing work. We haven't got to reinvent the wheel. We just get everyone in on the party. The other group is the individuals that will come that aren't already involved with something like this, stepping out of that comfort zone that they may be used to, does something for the individual or that family that will last with them for a lifetime. And we know of families that made some incredible changes even within their families to be able to impact other families in these neighborhoods. And you can talk to them today and they'll tell you how it was those early years of going door to door that impacted their lives forever.
Yeah, we believe that there's no better time than right now to get plugged in. And we're looking forward to celebrating the good that comes from this entire region getting behind this same mission. And we're excited to celebrate the good that comes.
Yeah.